Hey there everyone, this is Joe in general, your resident reason and evidence enthusiast. It is Friday the 15th of December 2017 and this is another mega mini analysis where I take a quick look at a bunch of different cryptocurrencies all in the one video. Keep it as short and sharp as possible. This time I will be looking at 4 specific coins, a few of the big ones and one request. They happen to be Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and finally the request, which was Iota. Now, at any time, if you want to skip ahead to the coin that you want to see the most, I'll put a link to the time codes in the info section of the YouTube page and as part of the pinned comment. As always, a quick shout out to my new subscribers, 7,644 as of right now. Welcome to all the newbies. Join the family by hitting the big red subscribe button. Okay, straight on to Bitcoin. Now, I'm going to only do one Bitcoin analysis this week. I usually do a weekly Bitcoin analysis, a standalone one, but I'm going to bundle it in with this mega mini analysis for this week. So this is the bitcoinwisdom.com website. Now this is the Bitstamp exchange, keep that in mind, and it's priced in US dollars. This is where we were last week. This is on the 2-hour time frame, I think it is. We had this symmetrical triangle pattern happening. I won't draw it in, but you can kind of see it right here. And we'd just broken to the downside. We'd broken through the trend line, this trend line right there, which you can see imaginarily. That's a word. Because we'd just broken down, I said that there was and I was very much on the fence, but I said there's a 51% chance that we're going to see lower prices from here versus higher prices from there. So I was very much agnostic about it. So I'm not claiming that because we have seen this retracement since then that, hey, I was right. No, definitely not. I was just sort of very much on the fence with it. But since then, we have seen a retracement down to 12,700 and a quick rise back up past the all-time high to make a new all-time high of 17,428 US dollars on the Bitstamp exchange. Now, in preparing this video, I'd actually drawn in a couple of new lines here, and we've actually just broken out of it. So right here, so in the half-an-hour time frame, I was intersecting these few highs right here and these couple of lows right here, and we were forming a symmetrical triangle. So generally what happens, if it breaks to the downside, then you're likely to see lower prices from there. If it breaks to the upside, then you're likely to see higher prices. So we've just broken through, and that's in the last hour or so. So to me, that would indicate, and of course, I could be wrong, but to me, this indicates we're at least going to have a test, I reckon, of that $17,000 area. I think now, quite likely in the next coming days, we may see a break of the all-time high and moving higher from here. So that is my opinion. I'm going to give it not a 50%. I'm not going to sit as much on the fence. I'm going to make a call. I'd say 60 to 70% chance that we are going to see higher prices from here versus having another crash, if you want to call it that. Everyone else calls it a crash, but we know it's just a buying opportunity. But I don't think now that we are going to see a larger dip anywhere down to that 8,000 mark, which I was talking about. I think that's in the rear view now, of course. I'm only giving it a 60 to 70% chance of higher prices. So 30%, 40% chance back down, but I think 8,000 is out of the picture now. That's my opinion. If we're going to have a dip from here, let's have a look at a couple of quick points which we could dip from, then we'll talk about where we could go up from here. Coming down from here, looking at this large trend line right here, if we did it in the next few hours, you'd be talking about sort of $15,000 area. Breaking down from here, you've got this trend line, which is going through this old low here of 5,555, intersecting this low here of about that $9,000 level, and that's this one right here. So if we were to break down, you'd be looking at around about kind of 13,500 area, and breaking down further from here, I think this area would be a significant level of support at around about $12,000. Again, I don't think that 8,000 is coming now. Now, we will see a retracement in the Bitcoin price. This is the same price, but it's just using the tradingview.com website. You guys, my subscribers, have seen this many, many times before. So I do think we are going, this is on the weekly time frame, I think we are going to see, let me get rid of that, we are going to see a retracement at some point, but where from is the question. So because I have a 60 to 70% bias to the upside, where could we go from here? So we've got that old high from the last parabolic move, the old high of 1163, the old low of 152.40. My subscribers are getting probably pretty sick of seeing this thing, but I think it's still very valid. I mentioned these prices last week. Coming up to here, this is the next Fibonacci extension level from this high and this low. You've got that at 18,200, 18,300. You could comfortably call that the psychological barrier of 20,000. I did notice on Poloniex the other day that there was a lot of a bit of a sell wall at 25,000. That may have changed though, but the next Fibonacci extension level, again from this high and this low, is at around about your 30,000 US dollar level based on the Bitstamp exchange. So I think we could see, and it's a bit of a large range, but I think anywhere between 25 to 30,000. I don't think if we hit 20 that we're going to have that large retracement from there. I think we'd have to get to around about 25 to 30 if the price is going higher from here. Again, the bias for me is 60 to 70% chance. But we will have a retracement for sure. It just depends where we drop from. So that's my opinion on Bitcoin as of right now. All right, let's go to the one that a lot of people have been talking about recently, and it is Litecoin. We said a massive rise in the price, all the way from the low here about $84. We've topped out at about $350. So we have seen a slight retracement in the price. This is on the daily time frame, and it is, I believe, it's the Bitfinex price. Yes, it is Bitfinex right there. We have seen a bit of a retracement. I think we could possibly see a further retracement. Let's pop this in maybe to the 1 hour so we can, maybe the 4 hour, that might be easier. There we go. So this is on the US dollar price. As you can see here, a few trend lines drawn in. We've got the Fibonacci as I mentioned. Right here, we've come down after that high of 350. We've come down to meet this trend line right there. How's that? Look at that. That's going through. Let me put that onto the, put it on the 1 hour. That's going through, bugger, I just moved that. Let me just get that and fix that for you because I don't want to start this video again. Let me just get there right there. Thank you for your patience. So as you can see right here, we had this little trend line here going through these few lows, this one right there, and it has bottomed out right on that trend line. Look at that, funny that, at about $250 roughly. And yet to break down through this trend line. Could we do it? Yes, we could, quite potentially. So let's have a look at where we are right now, going a little further. Let's maybe even take this to the 30-minute time frame and see what's happened. Let's do a little trend line analysis here. Okay. So what you'll notice here is that we have broken through this little trend line here. Doesn't mean we're going to see higher prices, but that's interesting just to note. Okay, that's that. So if we do see lower prices from here, where could we go down to? I think for me, this is more on the fence than the Bitcoin call because we have seen a bit of a retracement. Going back to the 1 day, let's have a look at the Fibonacci right here. So we've got, as I said, the low of 84, the high of 350, and we've come almost down to the 61.8. Now, technically, it's not 61.8. Technically, it's a 38.2% retracement from here, but it's just the way that you draw in the Fibonacci kind of flips the numbers around. So we've come down to this point right here. It's a decent retracement, but I would not be surprised if we do see a larger retracement down to the 50% mark. That's currently at about $217. I think you could comfortably call that maybe a little pierce below to the psychological barrier of maybe 200 roughly. But I'm going to sit on the fence with this because we have seen somewhat of a retracement. What I would need to see, as I mentioned just before, back on the 1 hour, I would need to see it break through this trend line right here and break below this 61.8 mark here to successfully suggest that we are going to see lower prices. Now that's on the dollar time frame, on the dollar denominated value. Let's have a look at Litecoin in relation to Bitcoin. A lot of people play the Litecoin and Bitcoin ratio. I think it's a very important one. So we've also seen Let me get rid of that. We have seen that large rise up, of course, and that was to a point of about 0.012 almost. Now we've seen a decent retracement. Let's have a look at the Fibonacci. Let me go here and here, take it from that high, and we'll take it from all the way down to the low of 0053 roughly. If we take a look there, we have yet to come down to the 61.8, so that could be a potential point if we are retracing from here. On the Litecoin Bitcoin ratio, you would see it possibly bounce off this area here of the 61.8. That's hovering at around about 0.0143. If you were looking to get into the market, maybe if you sold somewhere around here and you're looking to get back in, maybe around this area might be an opportunity for you. You wouldn't want to put the buy order at 143. You'd put it at say 145, 146, just to hedge your bets. But if I get rid of this Fibonacci, we also have these trend lines, as you can see. And this trend line right here is going through a couple of key significant highs. This one, and this one, and it intersects right here. So potentially you could see it come further back down to bounce off this downtrend line. And that's at around, depends when it hits, but that's at around your 0.137 mark. So I would still comfortably say if you want to get back in, maybe sort of your 145, 144, just to be safe, in case it does bounce off that 61.8 level, which I mentioned just before. My feeling on the Litecoin Bitcoin ratio rather than the Litecoin USD, as I said, I'm on the fence with this. This could go either way in my opinion, but because I think we're going to see some higher prices with Bitcoin, that would then lower the Litecoin Bitcoin ratio, if you understand what I'm saying. So if Litecoin kind of stays around where it is for a little bit and Bitcoin has a bit of a sharp rise, what you might see is a slight lowering in the Litecoin Bitcoin ratio. So I think there's room to move down. If you or someone has never bought Litecoin before, this could be a decent entry price right now. If you've never bought before, you may consider just getting an entry into the market, and if it goes down, consider buying some more. But again, Litecoin Bitcoin ratio, I think it has room to move down to this kind of area here, anywhere between sort of 137 to say 145. That's my opinion on Litecoin. All right, now on to Ethereum. Again, we've seen another large price rise. That's why I want to talk about a lot of these big coins, because we've seen some large price rises. Let me get rid of that. I've talked about Ethereum before in a couple of videos. The breakout that we saw here, the recognition of a breakout possibly happening, then the breakout happening, then a little quick dip as well. All right, this is on the USD market. Again, it's the Bitfinex price. So there's that right here. There's that breakout which was possibly going to happen. Then we had the breakout. We had that move up to 518 and then a dip down, but we have risen all the way up to $760. Congratulations to all if you are in the Ethereum market. What I want to show you is based on this video from last time, Ethereum down, but higher prices coming. What's next? In this video at about the 7-minute mark, I called for a possible price of about your 750 psychological value. And that was based on this Fibonacci high and this low. So if I show you right here, check this one out. It was from this high and this low right here. Now I mentioned this one because what you'll notice here from this high and this low, the 1.618 Fibonacci extension point is at, I hope you guys can see that here. I know it's the same color, but it's $516 roughly. And we happen to come up after breaking through here to that 518 mark. So that was pretty bang on the money, again, from this high and this low. So I was suggesting if we break up further from here, if we have higher prices, where could we go based on that high and that low? And I was suggesting here at 713, but I said a psychological barrier might be around your $750 mark. We have seen that. Again, doesn't mean I'm some soothsayer. I just think it's kind of common sense. But since then, we have had a retracement, not yet back down to this level here of 645. But if if we get rid of this Fibonacci level and change it, new high and a new low, let's do it from the high that we've reached so far and where it broke out from. So let's take it from the high of 760 roughly. I'm going to take it from, I think, from about this point here. I think that's a good point to go from. We have yet to come down to a significant Fibonacci level. We've broken through the 78.6, but we've yet to come back down to the 61.8, or technically, I guess, the 38.2. That's hovering at about $727. I think the psychological barrier, you'd be looking at maybe about the $600 mark, but kind of around that area. I think it needs to touch this area here before potentially going higher. If we go lower from there, you've got the 50% mark at 586, but that's close to the $600 psychological barrier, so you could see it bounce off $600 from there. Also happens to coincide, look at that line and that line right there, that coincides with the old high right here and this old low. So quite potentially, if we are seeing lower Ethereum prices from here, which I think we do need to see a little bit more of a healthy dip, then I think this area might be the main one at 585 roughly, call it $600 psychological barrier. That's my opinion. So if I have to give a percentage bias, I'd give it I'd say a 60 to 70% chance that we'll see slightly lower prices on the Ethereum to US dollar price. That's my opinion on USD to ETH, but let's look at Ethereum to BTC. We've had that move up to almost the top of this downtrend line right here. Let me get rid of that. But if we are going to see lower prices, which I think we probably will a little bit further in the Ethereum USD price, then what you'll probably see is this moving further back down. So that is my opinion on Ethereum. Now, lastly, Iota. This one was one which was suggested that I have a quick look at, and I'm happy to do so because there's been a little bit of news about Iota. I think quite a lot of FUD, in my opinion. I don't know a whole bunch of about Iota. I know it's to do with the Internet of Things. That's going to be a big thing coming in the future. Do your research on Internet of Things. But I'm not invested in Iota myself. I've got a whole bunch of other coins, and I just haven't focused my time and energy on Iota. But looking at the price, just from a technical analysis perspective, we've seen this run up to, where are we? This is the USD, run up of about, what, $5.60 US dollars. Of course, that's the Bitfinex exchange price. And we've had this retracement all the way back down to, what, $3 roughly, and we're kind of hovering now at about $3.50. Now, why did this happen? Well, a quick bit of research indicates to me that there's a bit of FUD going on. Now, FUD was fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Now, I won't go fully into this, but here's kind of the basic gist of it. Someone from Microsoft, who is a blockchain specialist, they made a statement saying the following. Talking about Iota, they said, this next generation technology will accelerate the connected, intelligent world and go beyond blockchain that will foster innovation, real-world solutions, applications, and pilots for our customers. So they're intimating that there's a bit of a, collaboration going on. They're kind of, utilizing Iota or having chats with Iota. Now, the word partnership was never mentioned. The word participation was meant. And so, just participating with Iota doesn't mean they're partnering. Now, what happened after that is Iota, the founder of Iota, came out with a little bit of a press release, and they said participants from all sectors and industries are represented. Companies such as, and they mentioned a bunch of other companies, Deutsche Bank, Telekom, Bosch, Fujitsu, Orange, and they mentioned Microsoft as well, and many more have deployed sensors that directly sell the data on the marketplace. So they're saying there's some participants from some big companies, and that's really good. And including the fact that the blockchain specialist of Microsoft mentioned Iota as well. Well, that created a big buzz, and that's what saw this large price rise mainly, all the way up to $5.60. Now, at this kind of price, what happened was someone came out, I don't know who originally did it, but they came out and basically said the following. They said, you claimed, Iota, you claimed that you were in partnership, partnership with Microsoft. That's not the case. You're not really in a partnership. They're just a participant. It's like, okay, so they're creating all this FUD saying, yeah, you're not in a partnership. Admit that you're not in a partnership. And then the founder of Iota has to come out and say, no, we're not in a partnership. We never said we were in a partnership. And this is what he said, Dominic Schneier stated, we have never mentioned that any of our companies which are participating, we have never mentioned that any of the companies which are participating in the marketplace are our partners. We call them participants. So I think someone wanted to create a bit of FUD, create a bit of controversy and say, well, you didn't not say they were partners. So why didn't you come out and say, well, no, guys, they're not partners. Why didn't you say that? It's like, well, because I didn't have to. They're just participants. They're not partners. Never said they were partners. Hope that makes sense. So someone's creating a bit of FUD, wanted to, I think, drop the price, just create a little bit of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And some people have taken the bait. And that's why you're seeing this price dip all the way back down to $3.50. I think someone was trying to make a mountain out of a molehill with this whole Iota partnership, quote unquote, with Microsoft. So definitely mountain out of a molehill, but some people fell for it, fell for the FUD, and that's why you're seeing this recent price drop. Now, I think most people, I think this will be a short-lasting bit of FUD. I think the fact that Microsoft is, doing some partnerships with lots of other companies, but including Iota, I think that will quickly, in my opinion, bring the price back up. But we do have this trend line right here, quick bit of technical analysis. We have come down from, where are we? This low here of 145 and this high of 560. Let me get rid of that. We've come down right here to the 50% mark of $3.50, and you have this trend line right here, if you can see, going through these low points. This trend line, we have yet to come back to that. So if the market is not done selling off because of the fear, uncertainty, and doubt to do with the whole Microsoft thing, then you could see the price come back down to test this trend line at some point. The question is, when does that happen? Does it happen here and then we come back to $2.70 roughly, or do we kind of skirt up and down a little bit and maybe down at, say $3? I don't know the answer, but I think that is a long-term trend line which probably needs to have a retouch at some point. But again, I think that Microsoft partnership thing, a whole bunch of FUD, and I do think the Internet of Things has a long prosperous future in the coming years. So I think we are going to see the price of Iota stabilize a bit and then head up from there. Again, that's priced in USD. If we take a look at it priced in Bitcoin, what you'll see is we've just broken through here. This is on the 1 day. Let me just take this to take it to the 4 hour. Right here, you've got this trend line right here, which is intersecting between this low and these low points right here. Looks like we have broken through it right here. So we could potentially see, if the price of Iota is going a little bit further down to somewhere closer to this trend line, you're going to see the price based in Bitcoin come down too. So if we're going to come down any further, you've got this definitely this, where are we? Right here, this support level, which was previous resistance, and that's at the level at about 0.0015 is where it could come down to, and breaking further down from there, you've got this big old trend line right here intersecting these few low points there. But I think on balance of probability, if we are going to break through here much further, I think you would come down, and this would be your support level at, as I said before, 0.00152. This is making me think about getting into Iota now. Now I've done more of my research about it, particularly with the news about the Microsoft participation, not partnership, participation. Stupid FUD, stupid FUD. But I would expect, as I said, I think possibly a little bit lower. As I said, as Bitcoin rises, which I think it will soon, you might see the price in Bitcoin of Iota to Bitcoin come down to possibly retest this old resistance level, sorry, of 0.0015. So I think if I'm going to decide to get into Iota, that's where I'd be looking to place my first buy order. Not right at the bottom, but kind of from anywhere from, say, here, anyway, from, say, I guess 1.716, maybe down to 1.5, sort of stagger the buy orders. So I think that's something I'm going to have a bit of a think about. I should probably be in Iota. It's probably not a bad idea, and particularly, where are we on the coin market cap? We're number 6 on market cap. It's an over $10 billion marketplace here for Iota. So I think that's one I should very much consider getting into. If you're considering getting into it, maybe this information on Iota is useful. I think that's it, gang. I think I've covered everything I need to. So I'll leave it at that. Of course, hit the big red subscribe button if you want to stay updated with all things cryptocurrencies, and check out my channel. There's other stuff to do with voluntarism and politics and firearms. I've actually got a shooting competition coming up this weekend, the last one for the year. So I'll be posting a point of view camera video of me shooting my Glock at a competition. So lots of other stuff other than the cryptos, but I'm kind of focusing on that mainly because it's such a big area, and I have a very much a large interest in it because I'm invested in a whole bunch of it too. All right, gang, that is it. Stay safe, stay informed. Speak soon.